All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to PKFX YouTube trading channel. I was away for vacation for the past 2 weeks, so I was not doing any videos. Now that I'm back in the office, so it's time to resume as per usual. And we are currently in the month of June. In fact, it's 16th of June. And I would like to make a quick update on Bitcoin for the month of June, following up for the monthly updates that I've been doing. And I've been trying to use my new audio device. I've purchased a iPod Max 2, and I'm trying out on this for the recording. So if at all there's some difficulties with listening to this audio, do give some feedback in the comment section, and I'll try to improve the audio quality as we go along in the upcoming videos. So now, straight up, I would like to jump into the charts. The last we were discussing for Bitcoin is I was saying that it was pretty much forming a bear pattern. If I go back to the daily chart, this is what I was highlighting, saying that this push to the downside and this kind of 45 degrees angle upward trajectory usually is a bear flag, and eventually it should break down. And as we can see right now, that is exactly what it did. So before I go down to the daily, let me just go to the higher time frame, which is the monthly. And I like to say that I'm actually very much excited over here on what's happening. If I zoom in, right, we can see that on the monthly, the Bitcoin chart is bearish, right? So this is the lower low. I've already marked over here with this line marked as M, that is at 66,956.90, right? We could call it 67,000, right? So this is the lower low, and the lower high is over here, all the way up here at about 115,764.27, right? So why am I excited right now is because yes, the bear flag is playing out, Bitcoin is going lower, but it is essentially trying to break below this particular line, this particular lower low. And if the month of June closes below here, anywhere in this region below this line, that would be great, right? Why? Because it will eventually make a new lower low, and the lower high, right, which is all the way up here at 115,000, right? If I were to set it back to the charts like this, you can see this line will eventually be moved all the way down here, making it as the new lower high, right? So if it breaks below and confirms below, that means the month of June closes below 67,000, right? Anywhere below 67,000, regardless of where it closes, when the candlestick closes and when the July candle opens, this will be the new lower low, and this particular region here, somewhere around 76,331, right? That would be the new lower high. The lower high on the monthly candle will move all the way from 115,000 to about 76,000. And why am I excited for this? It's because it is easier for Bitcoin to flip bullish back again the moment it breaks above 76,000 on a monthly candle, right? Compared to going all the way up here and breaking above 115,000 and then the monthly candle changing bullish, right? So that is why I'm excited, because the moment it breaks below and this monthly lower high comes over here to 76,000, that indicates that the bear market is coming to an end and we are slowly transitioning into the bull market. And the moment Bitcoin closes in the upcoming months above 77,000, the monthly candle itself is shifting bullish and we can go all out bullish for Bitcoin, right? So that is my analysis for now for monthly candlesticks, right? Clearly, we are still bearish. And if I were to check on the SMA, let me just close the EMA and open the SMA, the 200 SMA, right? Monthly is sell, right? Weekly is also a sell, but you can see the weekly SMA right now is acting as a support. So for the past few weeks, Bitcoin first came down here on February, created a huge wick over here, right? Held the 200 weekly SMA as a support, and then pushed back up, and that's when it created this bear flag, which eventually broke down, came back again, tried to break below this 200 SMA, And now, currently, for the past 1, 2, 3 weeks, it's technically still holding the 200 SMA that is eventually like slowly growing towards the upside, right? So this could be good and bad. The reason it's good is because usually when Bitcoin price comes close to 200 SMA, it kind of indicates the bottom is pretty close. Either the bottom is in or the bottom is pretty close to being in. Now, I personally don't think the bottom is in yet because these are my particular targets, right? Anything below the 200 SMA, simple moving average, would be a great opportunity to buy, right? But once again, these rectangles that I've drawn over here, these are my particular area of interest where I'd be considering to enter for Bitcoin positions, right? Anywhere around this first box over here from 60 to 54,000. But truly, this is my target, which is from 51 to 49,000. I do not know if Bitcoin would hit this. My expectation is Bitcoin to form some sort of a dome shaped structure over here and eventually roll down all the way down here and then probably create some sort of a strong wick before the bear market bottom concludes. Again, that is just what I want the market to do. The market can do whatever that it wants, right? This is just my expectation out of the market. But if it does that, that will be even great for me because once again, the weekly lower low will be even more further to the downside, and the weekly lower high will eventually go even further to the downside, which translates into it being easier for Bitcoin to eventually roll over and turn around into a bull market and then resumes our usual bull market, right? Now, also another thing that we got to take into consideration is right now it's June and the top was pretty much in October, right? So usually bear market lasts about a year plus minus a year. So I'm expecting the low to be in already. This may just be the low or somewhere around the upcoming 2 to 3 months, right? If in the month of June, which is right now in the next 2 weeks, Bitcoin suddenly makes another crash towards the downside, which goes into any of these boxes, that may just be it, right? That just may be the lowest point before Bitcoin starts its accumulation process prior moving to the next bull market. But if it's not, if it keeps bouncing at this 200 simple moving average, and then eventually somewhere around September, October, November, it breaks below, that may be the bear market low. But again, this is based on time-based capitulation, right? When we say that the bear market usually lasts about plus minus a year, and it started in October, the high point was in October. Right now it's June, we are already 8 months in. So another 4 months to go, right? So July, August, September, October, and that could be it. So I would say for me personally, right now is the best time to look into potential opportunities. Keep an eye on the charts, and I'm closely looking into it. I have not entered any positions yet. I'm patiently waiting because I need my targets to be hit before I can say, hey, it's time for me to go in and go all out on Bitcoin. Now, when can I be wrong? Is if at all Bitcoin were to rally from here and suddenly break this weekly lower high at about 82,000, let's say 82,200. If it suddenly breaks above 82,200 and creates a new higher high on a weekly candle, a new higher high, right? That would make me think that, hey, probably this area over here was indeed the bottom and all this was accumulation. I may just go heavy at that point of time, which I believe probability wise is less likely to happen. And what is more likely to happen is to actually have another lower low, right? Somewhere around June, July, August, September, October in these upcoming months as we are closing up the 1 year bear market time-based capitulation, right? If it has a steep capitulation right now, that may be the low. And if it doesn't, it has a few more months before it creates a low. It has to create that accumulative pattern before Bitcoin eventually rallies upwards. So this is where we pay close attention and keep an eye. However, right now, weekly is still a sell. So monthly was a sell. Weekly is still a sell, this being the lower low and this being the lower high. The lower low right now, which is lower than the previous lower low, that was formed somewhere around here, right, at 65,000. Right now, it is at 3,300, right? So I'm expecting the 200 SMA to break temporarily and some sort of a weekly candlestick pattern forming down here, accumulating down here before eventually pushing towards the upside. My personal price target, I'm hoping for it to come in between 51 to 49,000. I don't know if it will come, like I said. Most probably it will just stall out around 60 to 54,000 and eventually pump up. But it is too early for me to determine on that. I gotta have a few more candles. I gotta get, like a few more pieces of the puzzle before I can say, hey, yeah, this looks like an accumulation area. That looks like a bottom. It's time to rally, right? But for now, monthly is a sell, weekly is a sell, and if I move to daily candlestick, daily is also a sell. And I just want to touch back on this beautiful pattern that played out if I remove this blue diagram over here. So I did mention that if I were to like really, really zoom out on the daily candlestick, it can be very clear over here that what we have been doing is we pretty much we dump and then we have a bear flag, we dump, we have a bear flag, we dump, we have a bear flag, and now we dumped. Most probably we are creating another bear flag before we dump again, right? And this has been playing time and time again. The bear flags can be long, can be short, but eventually this sort of pattern tend to break towards the downside more than towards the upside, right? So when this pattern played out, all this was the bear flag. And I did mention that it may even come all the way up here to about 85K or so, but still this may be a rejection point. In fact, the 200 SMA on the daily candle itself started acting as the rejection point over here. Bitcoin didn't even close above. So if I zoom in, you can clearly see that Bitcoin didn't even close above the 200 SMA for the daily candlestick and eventually dumped towards the downside. So this particular 200 SMA is also acting as a resistance as I go to the weekly, right? The weekly, this is acting as a support, but when I come to the daily, right, this is acting as a resistance, and a flip above this can also indicate bullishness later on and say that, hey, that was indeed the bottom, the bull market is probably going to resume, right? Until then, I'm still saying this is a bear market. We're still in a bear market, probably towards the ending part of the bear market already based on the time-based capitulation. But right now, the daily lower low is somewhere around 60,879, and the daily lower high is about 77,000, and the daily SMA is also coming close to 77,000, right? So can Bitcoin rally all the way up here to 77,000 and break above? Probably. I don't think so. It's very less likely. But if at all Bitcoin comes over here, I believe what's probably going to happen is some sort of a rejection at this particular area that is going to act as a resistance. And if I were to drag this line as well, you can see that everything is aligning. So this is definitely going to be like a retesting the previous crime scene before it breaks below, right? I don't know if Bitcoin is going to come all the way up here before rolling over. I believe this area, this box over here itself is going to act as a resistance, and Bitcoin is probably going to, kind of stall out here before rolling downwards. Once again, this is just things that I want Bitcoin to do, not necessarily it has to do that. This is what I see in the market. Which is about to happen based on what I've seen in the market for the past few years, ever since I started trading Bitcoin. So now that we have already completed this particular bear flag, I can remove this pattern as well. It's no longer necessary, so that I can keep my charts clean. But yeah, that is pretty much it. We are still in a bear market, daily sell, weekly sell, monthly sell. And if I go to the monthly candle again, I'm really, really looking forward for some sort of closure below this monthly line for the month of June. And if it happens, that would be great. I understand that this area is a strong area where it can accumulate. So not necessarily it has to go to these boxes below. But if it does, great. That is the locations where I'm waiting for my entry points. But we are coming close pretty much to the end of the bear market in the upcoming weeks to months. So this is the time to keep an eye. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much the update for Bitcoin for the month of June. I hope this did bring some value. Keep an eye, keep some money aside. When it's time, we get to deploy, we deploy, and then we ride the bull market, right? All right. So thank you so much, guys, for your time, and have a good day. Take care.